Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. This is going to be my tutorial series. I'm going to restart the tutorial series due to the fact that some of them are a little long, and I had a couple people request the NPC tutorial on how to spawn them. So I'm going to go ahead and try to cover that. So bear with me. I'm going to try to go through this and be solid. If I'm streaming it out to you folks, if you could hold your questions for the end of the stream and catch me later in the stream, because I'm going to restream my actual modding, but I want to try to knock a tutorial out tonight, and then we'll transition into the actual stream. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. This is assuming now that you've downloaded the dev kit from Epic Games. All right, I recommend you have a hard drive of 500 gigs or more to download the dev kit for further updates when they do update the dev kit. Okay, so when you start up, you're going to have this screen here appear, and what you need to do is make sure that you have you create a new mod. Okay, I'm just going to use this mod right here as my tutorial. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and start into this. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your content browser, and you're going to bring up your main content here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and X that out. So you should have something like this. Just hit content, and it's going to read all these subdirectories here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create our NPC spawning. So it's 3 components to start with. So we need our manual spawn point. And it's going to look like this. You drag it out, and it's going to be like a little hand with a green arrow. So if you see over there, I'll get in here a little closer. So our little hand with a green arrow. Then what we're going to do is we're going to look up camp owner. CAMP OWNER. Camp owners. We drag this out. This little fire pit is basically telling us and marking kind of the location of our camp, but also it is the item that actually holds these manual spawn points and lets you know which points are connected to this actual camp. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and get the NPC territory spawner. So you type NPC territory, and you should see here, it's this one here, so you grab that. We drag it out, and we'll give it a second here. Let it catch up with the editor as we wait. And it's grinding away right now. So let's see here. Oh, this is taking a lot longer than what it normally does. So it's actually searching and trying to pull it across. Gotta love the dev kit sometimes. And doing this live is kind of fun. Come on, dev kit. You're grinding, you're thinking. Let's pull it out. Hard drive light's flashing, so it's searching. The only bad thing about this too is when you do the search, it's gonna have to search through all these resources and files. Okay, so it might take a little bit. Hey, Supreme Leader Twitch, thanks for joining the stream. This is my tutorial stream. Oh, okay, here we go. It's trying to do something. Visually, we can see the dev kit is working away. The joys of the dev kit. I mean, it's searching through. Yes, there we go. Whew. It's searching through a lot, and then of course we had an autosave trying to do in the background. I forgot to shut that off. If you can, remember to go to your project settings, shut off the autosave. All right, so we got our 3 components here. Sorry about that. All right, so we have our NPC territory spawner, our camp owner, and our manual spawn point. Okay. All right, I'm going to move this to the side here a little bit so it's out of our way. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to pull up our window details panel. Now this might be different for you, the interface. I got 3 monitors here, so I can break down the windows and drag them side to side on the monitors. Okay? But if you are trapped into your main screen with your content browser down here, your details window down here, and you'll have another window with world settings, and then your content browser stuff will probably be over here, kind of compacted, like something like this almost, probably. Either this, or it'll be down here like this. All right. So you should see something like this pop up kind of in your corner. So look for this window called Details. All right. All right, so we're going to move this back over here. Drag our Details panel back over here. Okay. Now, so our manual spawn point, what we want to do is we want to give it a name. So up here in this entry here, you're going to see BP manual spawn point. I'm going to go ahead and just hit an underscore, and I'm going to say tutorial. Or we're just going to call it tut. Tut 1, okay. And then I'm going to go to our camp owner, do the same thing up in the details panel, underscore tut underscore 1, okay. And then for our NPC territory spawner, same thing, underscore tut underscore 1. Now you can name this anything you want, but you want to make sure you try to keep the beginning sequence here just for yourself so that you know what you've done, okay, and you can track it. Also, what we're going to do too is I'll get into how to organize this stuff in a little bit here in the tutorial. All right, so now the next part of this is connecting these three. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and bring this up. I am going to expand this out a little bit so it has a little bit better visual. And on the NPC territory spawner, you also have a color coding. You can change it blue, change it green, you can change it red, yellow, cyan, whatever you deem that you need to identify your territories. Most of the time, red is a good to go for like your bad guys, and white can be just a basic camp. So whatever you decide to do that you feel comfortable with, you can use those to identify your camp. I recommend using the Funcom coloring codes, how they have it set up. That way you're consistent throughout the mod. All right. And now there's also under the territory we have spawn under roof, spawn from a trigger event, and ignore land claim. Now if you choose ignore land claim, that means that a player can come in and start when they build, the NPCs are still going to spawn. So it's going to ignore the land claim ship owner of an actual player character. So make sure you have this unchecked if you want it so when a player builds that the camp disappears. If you want the camp to stay and cause havoc for your player, then you're just one mean old nasty modder. So make sure ignore land claim is not checked unless you're absolutely wanting it to ignore a land claim. Spawn from trigger event, we'll do that later. Okay. So trigger event, keep that unchecked because we're not doing a trigger. We're doing just a regular, hey, when you log into the server boots up, then it'll set it up to where when your player gets within a vicinity, these will actually spawn. Okay, and currently our roam radius of our NPCs are currently 5,000 Unreal units. So that's like basically like 5,000 meters, which is probably roughly, you know, something out here. Okay. So just to let you know that. All right. So let's get cracking. Okay, so we need to spawn our NPC. So what we're going to do is take our content browser, and what we're going to look for is called Camp BLU, which is the build utility. This is a special little blueprint inside Unreal that the devs put in here. And what we need to do is we need to take these three items by holding down Control, left click. We got all three of them highlighted in yellow. We need to open this Camp Blue utility up, and what we need to do is then hit Connect Spawn Points. Now when I hit Connect Spawn Points, what you should see is a blue tag up here that says that they're connected successfully. Boom. That's the wrong button to push. So right there, if you push the first button, Connect Waypoints, it's not a waypoint. Connect Territory Spawner with Camp. Ba-ba, we got blue, okay? So that blue represents, hey, you connected them. They're now connected to each other. They read each other. They're like, hey, we're friends, okay? All right, so now we can set this aside. Okay, now what we need to do is find NPCs to spawn in here. Now if we go to our manual spawn point, we go to Window, Details panel again. We pull up our details. You're going to notice there's a wildlife option, a human option. What you're going to do is you're going to hit the plus sign. We're going to go ahead and do humans. And however, when you do this, you're going to see these old legacy spawners here. Do not use these. These are old system spawning system. They no longer exist. They're not used. So ignore this. Okay. So do not use this. This will be the default. Same with wildlife. Just to show you, you click here. If you hit the drop down, NPC type is none. Make sure you do not use this because this, like I said, is the old legacy spawning system. It's no longer used. So do not get tied up with this. Leave it alone. Okay. So I'm going to trash this and delete it by using the little trash can to delete that entry. We're going to do the human spawn here. Okay. So now what we need to do now is come back over here. All right. And we need to go in here and type weighted spawn table row should pop up. This is a data table. So what we want to do is open this up. Now this is going to contain all the base game spawns. All right, vanilla. All right, this is everything in game. So remember that. So let's just say off the top of your head you want to have a Relic Hunter. So we type Relic. All the different Relic Hunters start coming up from the different areas of the game. And some of them you're going to have to figure out on your own which ones you like. Okay. So I do not know this by memory. So if you do, then good on you. You're better than I am. All right. So we're just going to go ahead and put, let's see here. There's a Surge Archer. Now some of these work and some of these don't. So be mindful that some of these may or may not spawn. You just have to kind of play around with some of them because some of these entries are not finished. Some are. So just keep that in mind. We're going to go with a, let's go with a fighter one, the Surge, Relic Hunter's Surge Fighter. And down here is his spawn ID. He's going to be a Hyborian. And it should be kind of a randomized thing or it should be a solid thing. Some of them will say random, some won't. So just experiment what you would like. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and copy the weighted spawn table ID, which is this one here. So we're going to go here and copy this. All right, minimize it. Go over here to our details panel on our manual spawn point. And we are going to clear the none on the spawn table, hit Control V, and we can paste in the text what we just did, and here it is. Okay. Now, if we go ahead and now we save our map, which we want to do now, save, it is saved. Okay. Now, the other step we have to do is now we got to click on the campfire. We got to go to the blueprint camp component. And down here, what we need to do is add a camp actor. So we hit the little plus sign, and you're going to see 0, and you're going to see a none, and you're going to see a little eyedropper. We take the eyedropper, we click on the manual spawn point. Now we got BP manual spawn point TUT1. So TUT1 should spawn here, and it should spawn in our Hyborian guy. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll minimize this. We'll save the current map. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to step back over here, and I'm going to hit play from here. So now hopefully we'll load in with our test character and it doesn't blow up. The joys of the dev kit. So we'll wait for this to boot in. Depending on your machine, it might take a little while, so keep that in mind. You can minimize some of your graphics options through the settings area, so keep that in mind as well. So you can reduce some of the drawing graphics and all that stuff. But usually this is the best place to test some of your ideas out, is in this almost empty map, because that's where the actual mods will load in first. This is what you always truly see first. All right, so we're just waiting patiently. And another thing you can do too is you can set yourself up like a little scene, which I've done here. I've grabbed a tent, this little cage, because I need to show you some things with the different spawning. That way you have the options of what you choose to do and not do. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see if we fly and fall through the world, or we actually land on top of the green little tile up there. So let's hope we make it. And we're making it. Now you might be prompted, if you're just first starting out, you might be prompted to create a character. So you'll have to do that first. It's going to run you through the video. Do not hit escape. Do not hit the space bar to try to pass the video. You're forced to watch it in the dev kit. If you hit escape in the dev kit, it's going to punch you out of the play mode, which we're in right now as we're loading up. So keep that in mind as well. Okay. This is odd. We should be actually playing, and we're not playing as a character. Alright, so let's see what's going on here. Playing a selected standing viewpoint, I do not know, so maybe we need to do standalone game here. Alright, let's hit play from here. That is weird. I don't know why it did that, honestly. That is strange. So be aware of that too if that happens to you. Sometimes the dev kit does some weird things, and that was one of the weirdest things I've seen. Very weird. Alright, so we're trying this again. And right here it's going to give you information too and data as far as your startup character in your database. That's right, Supreme Leader Twitch. The dev kit does have its mysterious ways. Alright, as we wait for this load in again. Oh man, I tell you. You're going to find little things that the dev kit does that just confuse you. Okay, so now we'll wait and make sure our spawn pops in here. And usually it either takes a little bit for it to spawn in, or if we got a bad spawn, we'll have to find something else here. So we'll see if he pops in here. Give it a second or two. I'm not seeing it. Okay. Alright, it's not loaded in yet, and usually it's pretty quick. So obviously that one's not working, and it's acting crazy. And we'll hit escape. We will go to our content browser. We'll go to our awaited spawn table. And let's just see if I can find this guy here. And we should do the Relic Hunter's spawn table ID. Wait a minute, you know what? I think I might have made a boo-boo. Let me see here. I think it's the top row. I might have made a boo-boo. I'm a little rusty. It's been a while. I have to apologize if I did make a boo-boo. We'll see here. So we'll go back to our details on our spawn point. Double check it. It happens. There's a complex table of shit here, guys. Pardon my French, sorry. I should not cuss during my tutorials. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll hit save again. All right, let's hit play. And hopefully our NPC actually spawns this time. So I probably grabbed the wrong entry. Hit play. Here we go. Why is this doing this? Come on. Oh, now it wants to do this. Why is it doing this? Very strange. Okay. This is just weird. Let's just hit play from here. I hit play, but let's just play from here. There we go. There it was. So I put the wrong entry in. So there you go. So it's trial and error. You'll figure it out. Okay, so our Relic Hunter Treasure Seeker is attacking us. Okay. Now we can hit Control Shift Insert. And what we can do too is we can hit Cloak. We'll cloak. Now she'll leave us alone. We'll turn off eating. And then we hit Control Shift Insert. And she should start randomly walking around now. So now she's just going to randomly walk around our tent that we have set here, which is absolutely large, gorgeous large tent. Alright, so we hit escape. That punches us out of play mode. I'm just going to go ahead and reduce our tent down a little bit so it's not so crazy. Alright, so now I'm going to hit play. Let's just right click and hit play from here, so I don't have that issue again. Alright, there we go. Now, ooh, a little lag there on the play. But see, she spawned in, she's angry, she's randomized. So the spawn point is going to be randomly set up for these guys. Now, if you want to do something in particular, you can do that. But we're not going to get into that too much detail. Alright, so we kill her. We got rid of her. Alright. So, now what we want to do is we want to make her stand here. So to keep her from roaming, we just go Windows, Details. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit our little drop down, our humans. Now here's our abandoned Relic Hunter's Treasure Seeker. We're going to go down and hit Is Guard Spot. Now if you hit Guard Spot and we hit Save Our Map, so let's just do this to make sure we're saving so we don't have no issues. Right click and hit Play from here. Control Shift Insert quickly. Cloak. Alright, I cloaked it. So now notice she's standing here and she disengaged from me, so she's going to go back to the point that she's facing, which she's facing the tent. Now obviously we don't want her facing the tent, so we're going to hit Escape. What we're going to do is go here, we're going to rotate the little green arrow, okay, with our space bar. See, we'll do our transforms. And we're just going to rotate that green arrow so it's pointing out this way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit play from here, from back here, just so I can have time to hit cloak. That way I don't aggro her, or him, because these are all randomizing. So we got one of the ultimate randomizers. So if you're not worried about who's spawning there, these are great, the vanillas, just to get some random spawners. Okay, so old boy's just standing there. And he's facing out now due to our green arrow change. Okay, and he's like, hey, how you doing? You're in cloak mode, I can look at your head. So his head will follow you when you're in front, and if you pass him, he'll disengage. Alright, now you're all like, okay, but why isn't he talking? Okay, he's doing his little idle moves, which are nice that Funcom added, so these are great little things. But he's just chilling. Alright, and you're like, but I want him to talk like he's talking to somebody else. How do I do that? Alright, so to make it simple, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and highlight this. We're going to go Control C, Control Copy, Control V, Paste, and we're just going to grab out 2 spawn points. Now, this spawn point here I just dragged over is not programmed into our camp. So we got to go to our little camp here, go to our Windows Details, and we're going to go down to our camp component, and we're going to add another entry. Take our eyedropper, this is number 1. We click it, now it's Camp Spawn Tut 2, okay? And also, oops, I shouldn't have closed that. And on Camp Spawn 2, we also have the same exact thing, the Relic Hunter Treasure Seekers, in our spawn table. So it keeps all the data you've entered over here, okay? So it's got our guard spot, and they're just chilling, okay? Now if you look down here, there's an Emote State, okay? It said none, all right? But what we're going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and save the map, and I'm going to walk you through this because I want to show you so you know the functionality of what's going on here. Okay. Some people rush this stuff. I don't want to rush this because I don't want to confuse you, and I want you to be able to understand some of the functions that are going on here. Control Shift Insert to close our admin panel. Don't hit Escape. All right. So now both of our people are hanging out chilling, and they're facing that direction, and they're spaced apart, and they're like chilling. Okay, they're just sitting here doing nothing. Okay, now you notice that they were side by side, but because they're so close, the spawns bump into each other. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to make sure they got enough space between each other, and what we're going to do is I'm going to rotate this arrow this way, and I'm going to rotate this arrow this way, and we're going to touch the tips here basically from this distance, but when you're close they're not really touching. Okay, just the tip. All right, okay, so now if we hit save on our map and we hit play here, and what's going to happen now, we're going to hit cloak, and now they should go back. Now notice how they're facing each other now, like, hey, how you doing? Oh, I'm just a little off. Just slightly off because they're a little too close. So occasionally during the engine's launch, when they're spawning in, they might bump into each other and then they kind of move to the side. Okay, so they're a little bit off. Alright, so it's going to be a little bit of playing around to get just the right distance. Okay, so if you're really trying to be precise, you know, test it, check it, test, check until you get it to where you're happy. Alright. So they're both facing each other. I'm just going to back them up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to go into here on our Tut2, and we're going to go down to what's called the Emote State. All right, it says none. Now this is where all your emotes are. Okay. Now some of the emotes don't fire off inside the dev kit. All right, like lean on wall doesn't fire off in the dev kit, but when you cook the mod, they will lean inside the cooked mod. But in the dev kit, they don't show. They just stand there like, hey, what's up? So keep that in mind. So if you don't see it playing, chances are you have to cook the mod to see where it's at. The lean wall emote, and I'm going to put it on lean wall just for an example to show you what I mean. And then over here, unless they fixed it, which I don't think they have. All right, and then this other guy, we're going to go ahead and we're going to tell him to be a talking male. Now this is where it kind of gets funky, because you notice that the first time he spawned, it spawned as a guy, spawned as a girl, spawned as a guy, spawned as a girl, spawned as a girl, spawned as a guy. We don't know who's going to spawn in place. So it's funny how we have talking male 1, 2, 3, 4. However, you can change on the spawn tables to be specifically 100% male, and then you can use the male talking emotes. Does it really matter? Not necessarily. I mean, unless you're really picking like, hey, that guy looks kind of feminine the way he's moving his hands. You know. So just keep that in mind. All right. It's not really a big deal, but if you're precise and you're anal retentive, then have at it and play the game. Okay. And figure that shit out, because that's another tutorial for later on. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to give this guy, let's see, let's have him tinkering. So he's going to stand here tinkering and look like he's clobbering her in the head, but they're probably going to be off some distance here. So let's go ahead and save our map. Hit play from here. Control-Shift Insert to bring up our admin panel. We're going to cloak ourselves so they will go back to their spawn point, and they're going to leave us alone. Now notice that she spawned as a guy this time. This dude spawned as in a dude instead of a girl. All right. Now see, notice that I told this one to lean on the wall. He's not leaning on any wall, so it hasn't been fixed. So when we're to go to cook the mod, this dude would be hanging back, kicking back like he's leaning on the wall. That's where you're going to have to finagle it. And like if you do have a wall or a post you want to put the guy up against or gal up against and have them spawn in like they're leaning against the wall, you're going to have to do some precise maneuvers, cook the mod, play it, check it, or have some of your players on your server say, hey, this guy's, he's floating off the wall. Go in, see how far he's floating off the wall, and then make the adjustments in your dev kit to just kind of scooch him along until you get it right. Okay, it's a little bit of a pain in the ass, but that's just the way it is. Can't change it, can't fix it unless Funcom goes in here and does something where these guys play it actually inside. Okay? Alright, so now we got her tinkering. He's just standing there. Supposedly he's leaning, but we don't see it. Alright, so now what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and change the emote. Alright, and we're going to tell this guy, instead of leaning on the wall, we're going to tell him that he's going to be talking, and she's going to be talking instead of tinkering. Now, I'm going to space them just a little bit more because they're doing some weird, funky, looks like they're kind of smashing into each other and doing some funk. Now, the AI has been acting a little weird since the last few updates, so just be prepared for that sort of stuff, okay? All right, hit play from here again. I'm probably playing too close, but hey, Control-Shift Insert. We'll cloak. All right, now we'll let him say, hey, check it out, what's going on? Okay, so that's very feminine, that guy. He's very feminine. Alright, and this guy's over here like, what? Dude, let me tell you about the sun. It is hot today. I don't know why, but this shit's hot. Do you know why it's hot today? It's hot. Sorry, I had to have fun with it. Okay, so, and he's kind of feminine. He's like, well, check my hair out. It's, ain't it lovely? Look at it. Look at my nails. I did those today. I don't understand why that Bob didn't come over by Keskemi. You know, so there you go. That you got your feminine dude here. If you don't mind that, then that's cool. Oh yeah, see, he's touching his hair too. Look at, he's oh hey yeah. All right. So That's why, if you want, you can go in, delve in, and tell the spawn point to be 100% male instead of being a random 50-50 male or female. Okay. We'll get into that type of stuff later, but not in this tutorial. This is just to get you how to spawn NPCs. Okay. Now, what we also want to do is now, if we want to set it up to where this guy here is now going to be over here on the rug. So we want to set up our little camp, and we're going to just adjust it here, and we're going to set that about that high. We're going to go to details. We are going to go ahead and make this guy, let's see, he should be like sleeping. There's a couple new sleeping ones. Let's see, sleep on left side, right side, or on his belly. We're going to tell him to sleep on his belly like a fish. We're going to tell this guy to dance Accolonian, and we're going to just adjust it, and we're going to have it set like this. So he should dance, he should be sleeping, he's making a lot of ruckus. All right, so if we save, hit play, I love it. Oops, I meant to hit play from here. I just did that again. We're going to do some weird stuff here, I bet. So let's just hit play from here. It's very weird. I don't know why. Okay.
By the old serpent! Invaders!
All right. Control Shift Insert. There you go. Guy's dancing. He's going to sleep on his stomach. There you go. So basically we got our camp set up. All right. Hey, look out. Collision. All right. So they have collision. So like I said, they will bang into each other. So you got to set the distances just right to kind of make them look good. All right, so now we want this guy to spawn in this cage. Now there's collisions on these cages. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what I mean. So if we go to Content Browser, find it in Content Browser. Okay, and we're just going to click this open, and I'm just going to kind of search to the item. All right, and I'm looking for the mesh, which is this cage here. So we found the cage. All right, we double click the cage open, we can actually look at the mesh here. All right, and what I mean by mesh is this is a static mesh, so it sits in the world, it looks all pretty, and it's static. Now there's a collision on this cage, so if we hit collision, you can see the little purple bluey line is a collision. So if your player hits this, bang, they're going to bang into it, they can climb up over it. That's your surface that you're climbing on and you're smacking into when you're playing. Okay. Now, notice in here, this is kind of empty, and then these blue lines are the advanced collisions, okay, complex. So the collision wraps around the posts and all that stuff. It's very close. Okay. So now you can use complex. However, remember that's taxing on your system, so keep that in mind if you start using complex collisions. But we want to make it look like the guy's trapped inside the cage. Okay, I'm not going to mess with the collision. We're going to see if we can finagle this very carefully. We're going to take this guy and we're going to put this under here like so, and we're going to try to make it look like he's in here. And window details, we are going to tell him not to dance because we don't want him standing. We actually want him to kind of sit. So we're going to make him look like he's sitting. Let's see, prey standing, arms crossed, shift wait. Where's sit on the ground? Damn it, I'm looking. You gotta just go through the list here, guys. It's a pain in the butt sometimes when you're looking for a particular. There it is. Sit on ground. So now when we spawn him in, he should sit on the ground, but he might also spawn on top of the cage. So let's hit play from here. And hopefully this is very in-depth for you. All right. So now he sat in the cage. And we got it pretty precise. Okay, now he's going to aggro, though, and he's going to try to get out of the cage. All right, so what you want to do is you want to set these guys to where they're passive. All right, and that's some customization options, which I'm not going to get into. But notice that he's stuck in the cage. He's hitting the collision, so he can't get out. But also, he's moving around in there because he's trapped. Okay, so that's how you do that. But I recommend doing it with guys who are not going to aggro on you. Notice now we moved away. he's kind of weird. He didn't go back to his position. So you're going to get some funky results. So keep that in mind. But if you can do some magic and simulate, then so be it. All right. Now, there's also an option on your spawners. As soon as I can get this thing to select, I don't know why. The dev kit's funny sometimes. I'm trying to select that. There we go. It's being weird. A little slow. Okay. So what you have is you have the spawn underneath roof option for these manual spawn points. So if you have them under an object, what that does is the engine draws an invisible line down to the area where this point is, and it says, okay, you're going to precisely spawn an object here. But if there's anything blocking that line, chances are it may spawn on top of something. It might get stuck in something. So what I'm just going to do, just for shits and giggles, we're going to accidentally shift this spawn point inside the post here. All right. And we're going to hit save. This is me funky because I've never really actually tried this in a tutorial, so this will be fun. So we might get some really bad results. So keep that in mind. Shift insert, we're going to cloak. We don't want to aggro our guy in the cage. Oh, yeah, see now, notice how he was trying to go to his emote. He started laying down, but then all of a sudden he popped up. Watch this. So he's going to go down. And wow, the engine actually said, hey, it's going to work. So sometimes they won't do this and play their emote. He'll actually get stuck and just stand here, or they'll just get stuck and they'll be trapped and they can't move out. So let's see if he's actually trapped against the collision or the mesh. So we're going to go ahead and go uncloak, and we'll see if we can piss him off. Make him mad. Hey, buddy. Engage me. See? He's actually stuck inside the post. So his cage is trapped. Now, sometimes he might de-trap himself, which is, we're lucky there. But let's see if he actually follows. Come on, pursue. Okay, so he's pursuing. So he actually untrapped himself. Okay. And then this guy, we're going to piss him off. Come on, buddy. Let's get angry with us. And see, he's going to do some funky stuff in there, like I said. Alright. Bull boy over here, he's free. But when you shut the server down and restart, he could get trapped again, then he could get permanently trapped. So it all depends. So make sure that your spawn points are not colliding with any objects and weird stuff like that, because they will get kind of hung up. Sometimes they'll be permanently frozen and they'll jitter and start doing weird things, which causes tendency to cause server optimization issues, stuff like that. So keep that stuff in mind. Okay, so now say we want to add another spawn point. I'll do that one more time. I'm going to make this guy face this way. Control copy, Control V. This is going to be our third spawn point. Make sure we go to our camp owner, go to Windows, Details, and then we are going to add another entry, eyedropper, tut3. Come back here, hit save. Right click here from here, hit play. Control Shift Insert. We're going to cloak. And they're both facing this way. Just chilling. Okay, and now they play their emotes. They're both laying down. They're both sleeping. Okay? So that's how that system works. Alright, and I think I kind of covered that. Now, that's if you're not creating any custom NPCs. You don't need any data tables. You just need the entry off the weighted spawn table to plug into the manual spawn points. Okay? And let's see here. So what I'm talking about is if we go back here, we're just going to type weighted. This is your friend. Okay? And like I said, this contains all the different spawns. And just to kind of show you, I'm just going to grab Army of Acolonia Priest of Mitra. Remember to copy the weighted spawn ID. My bad. Not the actual spawn table entry ID from the data table. Oopsie. And we go here, and we're just going to go ahead and drop down our human option. We're going to just change the spawn table entry here. Control V, Akaloni Priest Mitra. Hit save. Come back over here. Hit play. Control Shift Insert. Bring up our admin panel. Hit cloak. As soon as my machine in the dev kits wants to cooperate. Come on, dev kit. You're being a little slow tonight. Thank you. Getting a little lag for whatever reason. Probably with OBS and stuff. Okay. So there's our Priest Mitra. She spawned in. And she's playing the emote. And that's basically it. Okay. So if you have any questions, hopefully I didn't leave you with questions. This was just basically how to show you how to spawn in NPCs, what not to do and what to do as far as setting up just a vanilla scene, a vanilla area, not using any custom NPCs and using any data table entry as far as creating your own, stuff like that. That's a whole nother tutorial. That's a little bit more complex. But if you just want to get up and running and create a vanilla based tent with spawns, that's how you do it. Okay. So without further ado, I am going to go ahead and end this tutorial. That way we're not too long. I think I kept it down to about 36 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'm going to transition here in the next 30 minutes, well, probably next, 10 minutes, into my regular stream. So I'm going to go ahead and end this tutorial. Thanks for tuning in. Please support me on Patreon. Okay, that should be at the below on my Twitch stream, and also it should be on my YouTube page. And $1 here or two for my time, I do appreciate. And the fans that are donating, thank you very much. I really appreciate your guys' support, and that helps me continue to bring you mods and stuff. Last month I had a computer issue, and I had a video card blow out. So some of that money is actually gone toward that and helped me out. So I really appreciate you guys and your support. So, all right, I'm going to end this. Thanks for tuning in. And if you join on Patreon and you throw in $1 or $2, what I'll do is I'll take suggestions for the next tutorial, and whatever suggestions are the most predominant or most asked, I will go ahead and do a tutorial on that. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to do a little stream. A little session of tutorials, and the next tutorial will probably be like custom NPCs or something like that. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night. Stay safe, and we'll catch you next time.